What if pressure isn't your enemy, but your sculptor? What if the weight you're carrying isn't here to crush you, but to compress you into something clearer, stronger, and far more valuable than you were before? This book makes one bold claim. Pressure doesn't merely reveal character. Handled well, it forges character. The heat and weight you feel can turn raw carbon into a diamond if you learn to work with it instead of fighting it. The author starts by reframing pressure. There's bad stress, the kind that overwhelms your system and leaves you depleted. But there's also productive pressure, the kind athletes call the moment, performers call the pocket, and pilots call the zone. Biologically, both start the same. Heart rate climbs, focus narrows, energy surges. The difference is the story you attach to those signals. If your brain reads the surge as threat, your vision tunnels and your judgment wobbles. If your brain reads it as challenge, those same hormones sharpen your senses and make access to skill easier. Pressure isn't neutral, but it is steerable. That steering starts with a simple map the book uses throughout: purpose, preparation, process, perspective. Purpose answers why this moment matters to you. Preparation loads the skill into your body before the game starts. Process is the tiny checklist you follow while the heat is on. Perspective is how you interpret what just happened so you can grow. Together, they turn pressure from chaos into curriculum. Purpose matters because pressure amplifies whatever is already inside. When your why is fuzzy, pressure turns every task into a referendum on your worth. When your why is specific and generous, pressure becomes fuel. The author suggests a two-line purpose for any high-stakes situation. The first line is your intention for the outcome. The second line is your intention for the person you want to be. Win the account by telling the clearest truth. Be the kind of teammate who stays calm and creates space for others to shine. When the room heats up, read your two lines in your head. Purpose pulls you out of panic and back into agency. Preparation is where diamonds are actually formed, long before the big moment arrives. The book draws on deliberate practice. Break your skill into parts, drill the parts at the edge of your ability, and add feedback fast. A public speaker might practice only openings until they can deliver 5 strong versions without notes. A coder might rehearse explaining complex trade-offs in 60 seconds. A nurse might run micro-simulations for a medication error and practice the exact words to use when calling a physician. Under pressure, your brain will not invent new skills. It will reach for what you trained. Make sure the right thing is what you trained. You'll find a simple physiology protocol that performers use everywhere. Breathe slow through your nose for a 4 count in, 6 count out. Drop your shoulders, relax your jaw, put both feet on the ground. When your body shifts from sprint to steady, your prefrontal cortex, the part that plans, chooses, and communicates, comes back online. Add a focal cue, eyes on one unmoving point for a few seconds. That stillness tells your nervous system you're safe enough to think. Now comes process, the short checklist you use inside the moment. The author's pressure checklist is 3 steps. Aim small, act simple, adjust quickly. Aim small means define the next tiny target. Don't present the whole deck. Land the opening story. Don't fix the entire outage. Restore the most visible service first. Act simple means choose the version of the move you can execute under stress. Fancy fails when heart rates spike. Clean and repeatable carries the day. Adjust quickly means build tiny feedback into your effort. In a conversation, watch their breathing and shoulders. In a pitch, listen for the first genuine question. In a game, feel your mechanics, not the scoreboard. The faster you can update from reality, the more pressure becomes power. Perspective is how you metabolize pressure after the fact. The book's after-action review asks 3 questions. What was the moment? What did I do? What will I test next time? That language is careful on purpose. You're not naming a fixed identity. You're naming behaviors you can change. That keeps the nervous system calm and the learning channel open. To make the ideas sticky, the author offers the diamond framework, 7 facets you can polish every week. Direction. Know the one outcome that matters most in this situation and the non-negotiables you will not trade away to get it. A clear direction shrinks noise. Internal state. Own the body dial. Before the moment, downshift your breathing. During the moment, keep your exhale a little longer than your inhale. After the moment, release tension with movement or a short walk. Actions. Script the first 60 seconds. Open with a sentence that sets intention and buys your brain time to acclimate. One honest, calm line beats a perfect paragraph you forget under heat. Margins. Pressure multiplies mistakes when there's zero slack. Build buffers. Arrive early. Keep extra time in the calendar. Keep a second option ready. Margins are invisible until you need them. Then they feel like oxygen. Other people. Pressure is social. Decide how you'll help teammates regulate, not just yourself. Ask a grounding question. What's the smallest win we can get in the next 5 minutes? Name one thing going right. Great leaders lend their nervous system to the room. Now tactics. Keep 2 rescue tools in your pocket for when things wobble. A reset line you can say out loud and a tactile anchor you can touch. Reset line. Give me a second to put this in the simplest order. Tactile anchor, thumb and forefinger press or hand on the table. Little anchors keep you from spiraling. Debrief. Close the loop. Celebrate one behavior you want more of. Name one adjustment. Decide the next tiny rep you'll practice within 48 hours so the lesson doesn't fade. The middle of the book is full of scenes that show pressure turning from enemy to ally. A young founder freezes in front of a key client. She uses the reset line, breathes out through her nose a beat longer than she breathes in, and asks a single clarifying question. The client relaxes and shares the real fear: migration downtime. The founder pivots to a smaller pilot with a rollback plan. They sign. A varsity goalkeeper has nightmares about penalty kicks. They practice a 5-step routine until it's in their bones. Set feet, exhale, soft eyes, cue word, explode to the ball. In the championship, the crowd is deafening. He runs the routine as if alone in a quiet field and makes the save. A senior nurse watches a team escalate during a tense handoff. She does a 30-second summary, labels the emotions in the room with a single calm sentence, and asks for risks and requests. The energy settles. Clarity returns. You'll learn the difference between loud intensity and quiet intensity. Loud intensity burns energy to show you're trying. Quiet intensity channels energy into the next correct move. Quiet intensity wins under pressure because it leaves more oxygen for the brain and more respect in the room. Constraints become a theme. Pressure limits time, information, and control. But constraints also drive creativity. The author recommends designing smaller versions of the work that still count. Ship a 1-pager instead of a white paper. Run a 90-minute pilot instead of a 2-week test. Host a 5-minute stand-up with 3 questions instead of an hour-long status meeting. Diamond makers respect constraints. They cut to the facet that matters most. Because pressure often arrives without warning, the book includes a concept called stress inoculation, controlled doses of discomfort that build capacity. Once a day, do something mildly hard on purpose. Finish a cold shower with a deep exhale. Make the difficult phone call first. Present your idea to a small group without slides. The goal is not suffering. The goal is teaching your nervous system that you can feel intense sensations and still choose your actions. Communication under pressure gets its own playbook. Open with the point in one clean sentence. Ask one open question that surfaces the other side's reality. Mirror back what you heard in under 15 seconds. Make a small, specific ask. Keep your tone slower than your nerves. Emotions are contagious. Set the pace you want the room to match. If conflict flares, state behavior and impact without guessing motives, then request a clear change. When you must say no, pair it with a doorway, yes. No to this method today. Yes to the outcome by Friday with a smaller test. Recovery is part of pressure mastery, not an afterthought. The author teaches the 3R reset after tough days. Reset your body with movement and breath. Release the story by writing 3 lines that summarize what happened, what you did, and what you'll try next. Re-enter your life on purpose. Close the laptop, put your phone away for 20 minutes, and give your full presence to something human. Diamonds don't stay in the press forever. They cool. If you lead others, your job is to design systems that make the right thing the easy thing under pressure. Clarify roles before deadlines, not after. Decide how decisions will be made in the meeting before the meeting. Run short premortems. If this fails, what will likely be the reason? Guard the top of the week for deep work and big decisions. Protect the bottom of the week for cleanup, documentation, and gratitude. Culture is a pattern of small pressures handled well or poorly. Be intentional about the pattern. To make these habits real, the book offers a 30-day field guide and a 90-day expansion. The 30-day field guide asks you to choose one arena: work presentations, sales calls, interviews, performance reviews, competition days, and run the same loop daily. Day 1 through 7, script your first 60 seconds and practice it out loud 10 times. Build your physiology reset: slow nasal breathing, longer exhale, soft eyes, grounded feet. Pick your cue word, something like steady or clear. Day 8 through 14, run stress inoculation: 1 deliberate discomfort per day. Cold finish, hard call, 5-minute off-the-cuff talk, candid feedback request. Keep the dose small and the repetition high. Day 15 through 21, tighten your process checklist. Aim small, act simple, adjust quickly. Track one metric you control, like number of calm opens delivered or number of clarifying questions asked before making a recommendation. Day 22 through 30, debrief in 3 lines daily and share one learning with a teammate or friend. Teaching pressure skills cements them in your own nervous system. The 90-day expansion stacks capacity. In month 1, build margins. Earlier arrivals, phone-free golden hours, small buffers in your estimates. In month 2, build team regulation. Start meetings with intent in 1 sentence. Harvest risks before decisions. Close with who does what by when. In month 3, place a real bet: a presentation, a pilot, a competition, a difficult conversation. Run your system. Debrief cleanly. Iterate. Real stories anchor the final chapters. A software team that always melted near release dates stopped trying to eliminate pressure and engineered it. They pulled decision-heavy tasks into mornings, replaced big weekly meetings with 10-minute daily huddles, and used pre-mortems to trap surprises before they grew teeth. Releases still got tense, but firefighting turned into coordinated problem-solving. A high school teacher turned parent-teacher nights from anxiety traps into connection labs with 1 calm script. Welcome, a 2-sentence snapshot, 1 question, 1 next step. Fewer arguments, more progress. A young violinist who shook during auditions trained a 3-breath ritual, a cue word, and a focus on the contact point of bow and string. Her hands still shook, but her sound stayed clean, and the panel heard her music instead of her fear. The closing idea is simple and liberating. You can't buy a life without pressure. You can build a life where pressure becomes a teacher. You don't have to love the squeeze. You only have to learn its language. The faster you translate stress signals into specific actions, breath, body, words, next step, the faster pressure starts working for you. So take 1 slow breath. Think of 1 real situation coming up this week where you feel the weight. Write 2 lines of purpose. Script your first 60 seconds. Choose your cue word. Decide the smallest win that would move the needle. When the moment arrives, run the checklist. Aim small, act simple, adjust quickly. Afterward, write 3 lines and schedule 1 tiny rep within 48 hours. Do this loop a handful of times and you'll notice the shift. Your heart will still race, but now it will race for you. Your mind will still light up, but now it will light the path instead of the exit. And each time you pass through the press with presence, a little more diamond shows.